To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so I'm back at the tiny house build again today. I'm going to continue installation. I'm going to run it up here on the ceiling now. And I'm also going to secure the trusses a little bit better to the wall. I only attached it temporarily while I was installing it. That way, if they needed to be moved or adjusted when I put the OSB on the roof, it would be easily adjustable. Just unscrew it. And then I just got to wait for components. That's really all it is. I got stuff on order. And on the, let's see, Tuesday, this is Thursday, we're gonna go and get some 1x4s. We're gonna get some pallet wood for the walls. Carolyn's very excited about that. I got her a very small circular saw, battery operated. It's only 5.5 inches, $60 Black & Decker on Amazon. So that should be here Monday because she wants to install the walls. Now, I recognize we're gonna end up spending a lot of money using pallet wood for the walls. I mean, we could buy drywall, it'd be much cheaper. She wants it to look antique-y and homey. So she's gonna spend the $200 to get some pallet wood. Now, we could go and get our own pallets. I get it. We could break them apart ourselves, that'd be fine. But I think we'd end up spending more money running around all over the country trying to find pallets. We don't have a trailer, so we'd have to either rent a trailer or just run back and forth and pick up pallets. Then we'd have to worry about making sure they're chemical free. And you know that half the places you go, you'll ask them, are they chemical free? And you'll get there and they won't be. So you've just wasted, you know, a day and 100 miles. So she's gonna buy it from a guy who does this for a living. He goes around, collects up pallets, takes them apart, and then sells a pallet of them for $200. He's also got 1x4s, this guy, in they're 5, 6, 7, and 8 foot lengths. He's gonna try to find 8 foot lengths for us, set those aside, and he's selling them for $1 a piece. So we figured we needed 70 of them if we figured it at 5 feet. So what we did was we figured out what the price is per foot. You know, it's $1. We said, okay, 5 feet. And then we went to Home Depot and looked at their prices and looked at it per foot. And he was like 20 cents per foot. Home Depot was like 60 cents per foot. So no matter what, it's still cheaper to buy it from this guy. I'm almost fearful of mentioning this because the comment section is just gonna light up. Oh, you're doing it wrong. I know I'm doing it wrong. I know. I used R19 insulation on the walls. So I put 2x6s on the walls, and R19 goes in 2x6s. So if you use 2x4s on the walls, then you have to use R13. It's much thinner insulation. So I have R19 left over. And so I'm gonna put it up in the ceiling right here. I'm gonna use the leftovers first, and then I'm gonna go buy the remainder. What's gonna happen is when you put that in there, it's gonna squish. And so it's gonna reduce the value of the insulation. What is it going to reduce it down to? Probably an R13 is my speculation. But we got such a bargain on this. We got it secondhand. Some guy had it. He had a bunch left over. I think he had 6 bundles left over. A bundle of 9 8-foot strips. We couldn't pass it up. It was $200. So that we knew it was going to finish all the walls and do some of the ceiling. Then I'm going to buy R13 and I'm going to roll it up on the roof. I've talked about that a lot. So the attic is going to be more, people are calling it a loft. Since I've talked about this, the attic isn't really an attic. It's not a second story, obviously. It's too small, but it's a good loft, a good storage area. Heck, you could sleep up there. And so having this air bubble up there with R13 at the bottom and R13 at the top, it's gonna be nice and toasty, especially with the wood stove right here. And then we're gonna have an opening right next to the wood stove. That's gonna go right here. And so that heat's gonna be able to go up in there. And then we'll have probably a fan or something that will circulate it to an opening over there. So you'll get this constant movement of air. As far as a blower, somebody asked about the blower on the wood stove. It does have a blower right back here. It's gonna be hard to see, but it is. There's a blower right there. But we don't have the electric to run the blower. I mean, we could get batteries, more solar panels, more. but there's just no reason to. Our lifestyle is minimalistic. You know, we have 1,000 watts of solar per hour. Sunny days, that's what we get, is 1,000 watts. You know, on cloudy days, we get about 200 watts an hour. But they make this fan, and I'm gonna buy one that's heat operated. So you stick it right on top of the stove here. I've seen them on YouTube, they're pretty cool. Stick it right on the stove, and then it spins just from the heat. I don't know how it works. I'm really gonna study this after I get it. And besides that, I'm not sure we really need a blower. I mean, we're only talking 200 square feet. This thing can heat up to 2,000 square feet. A lot of people are concerned that it's gonna be too much heat. Well, I mean, I've been really practicing techniques with my Franklin outdoor heat exchanger. What works, what doesn't work. I know that if you turn down the ventilation or the intake, right here, there's an intake. You turn this down just barely open where it's not drawing much oxygen, then it's going to really, you know, move that flame down. The other thing I've noticed is the more wood you put into a stove, the hotter it gets. So if you only put one log in and it's just simmering, that'll really control the temperatures. Putting more logs in, I've noticed with the Franklin, doesn't make the wood last longer in the stove. Instead of having one log burn for 4 hours down there, you got 4 logs burning down there for 4 hours. So it doesn't change the time, it just puts out more heat. Put one log in here, turn the flame down. I can't seem to convince people on the dampener, and I'm gonna give up here. I'm just not gonna talk about it much more. And these were all polite comments. I talked about not putting a dampener in here because the manufacturer says don't do it. A lot of people replied back, well, that's fine, I understand what you're saying, Rob, but I'm gonna put one in here for 2 reasons. One, so I can regulate the flue temperature. If the flue temperature cools off too much, you're gonna get creosote in the pipes. Then you're right. The other thing they said is the dampener also keeps heat from rising up and losing all your heat through the chimney. Yeah, kinda. I'm not totally buying into that. And even with the Franklin has a draft vender, so the heat doesn't go up in it, but that's all right. The couple things. First of all, this thing has fire brick right up here at the top. These things are amazing. And so the fire brick would keep that heat from rising, if that's what you're concerned about. The other thing about creosote is created primarily from uncured wood, unseasoned wood. So if you have seasoned wood, according to the instructions, you know, less than 20%, you shouldn't be getting a huge creosote buildup in there anyways. Secondly, this thing I've talked about, it has a catalytic converter in it that burns the smoke. The reason you see smoke is because it's unburned material. Well, these catalytic converters recycle that smoke and burn it up, so you won't be getting any material into the chimney, at least very minimal, into the chimney, so you won't be getting a huge creosote buildup as it is. They've put a lot of science into this. We're not gonna outthink this one, I don't think. Okay, so I also received at least part of my shipment for the metal roofing material. This is a seal that you have to have, well, I don't know if you have to have it, right there at the edges of the roof. So at the peak and at the bottom, you put this right underneath the metal, and you can see it's ridged, so it fits into the ridges. And that, from what I can understand, keeps water from coming back up into the roof. So that's the first piece of shipment I got for my metal roofing. So we're getting close. Today I'm supposed to get screws for the metal roof. That was $100 for one bag, 20-pound bag. Oh man, that was hard to swallow. Those are expensive. So I'm gonna wear my mask, and I'm gonna try to wear my glasses, because the fiberglass in the insulation just gets down in your lungs, and well, not your lungs, but more in your throat, and you just hack and cough and hack and cough. But I also notice it in my eyes. It makes me feel like I'm having allergic symptoms in my eyes. Problem is the mask makes the glasses fog up, so I'm having a hard time seeing. So we'll see how it goes. Now, I told you in previous videos that the edging on my insulation got wet, and I let it sit outside for about 3 days. Today it was really windy, but they all did dry very nicely. No mold, everything's fine. You know, I looked at the manufacturer's recommendations on what to do. As long as it's not in the walls, it should dry. Now, that being said, it's not like throwing your clothes out on the line. It takes forever for this to dry. Didn't take me long to realize I was going to need something to hold it up, so I had a spare piece of plywood. use it as a leg so I can staple one side because it would just rip as soon as I started. So I do have enough insulation. I'm gonna have plenty left over to finish the ceiling. That is awesome. And then I might have enough to actually do at least one of the gables, because I've been talking about I'm gonna insulate the gables and the roof. So I hope I can encourage you to think smaller. Thanks for watching.